This is our top story, the summit in Panama. For more on U.S.-Cuba relations, we're joined now by Arturo Lopez-Levy. He's an expert on Latin American politics. He's joining us from San Francisco. Let's talk about this photo op, that moment when we see the leaders of the United States and Cuba together after all these decades of animosity. Discuss the significance and the expectations for this summit.
Well, this is a very important moment in the relationship between Cuba and the United States and between the United States and Latin America. This is basically the end of the tropical Cold War that has divided Cuba and the United States for quite a long time. For more than 50 years, the United States has pursued a regime change policy towards Cuba. And since December 17, the policy has changed and has tried to promote engagement, constructive dialogue. And I think this is a very important moment in this sense, because for quite a long time, the policy of total isolation was a major irritant in the relationship with the region.
We'll talk a little bit more about the region in just a moment, but each side, of course, has concerns it wants addressed moving forward. What demands do you think might surface here, or possible talks between Obama and Castro?
Well, the main thing is today is the issue of Cuba's presence on the list of nation sponsors of terrorism of the State Department. But there are other issues. The United States would like to have more freedom of movement for its diplomats in Cuba. In fact, it would like to speed up the process of normalization of diplomatic ties. But on the other hand, a big problem is that the embargo is not only in the hands of the executive branch. The Congress has a major say in the issue, because part of the embargo is already the law of the land.
Arturo, do you think that the United States might use the summit as a backdrop to announce the removal of Cuba from the list of state sponsors of terrorism?
I think this will be a very welcome development in the region. As I said earlier, the issue is the inclusion of Cuba on the list is perceived by many in the region and in Cuba as a light and as an unfounded insult. Cuba has not been involved in any terrorist activity, at least in the last 20 years, and countries such as Colombia are very grateful of Cuba's involvement in mediating a dialogue between the guerrilla, a group called FARC, Armed Revolutionary Forces of Colombia, and the Colombian government. So I think it will be a major event, and most countries of the region, and last but not least, the Cuban people and the Cuban government will welcome this development. The United States can debate with Cuba issues such as human rights and other topics, but it is easier when it is done based on facts and not on make-up arguments.
Arturo, we don't have much more time, but I do want to ask you just how important to the United States is its neighbors and vice versa?
Well, you know, we are living in a context in which there is a strategic rivalry between the United States and other major powers. We know that there are tensions in the South China Sea and other areas. There is a kind of competition in East Asia, and in Eastern Europe, particularly in Ukraine, there are some rivalries with Russia. And the United States is very interested on aligning the region behind its leadership. And when I mean the region, I mean the Western Hemisphere. And the Cuban issue was a distraction for quite a long time. There is a lot of trade. Still, the United States is the major trading partner, is the main trading partner of Latin America and Mexico. And if you take Latin America as a whole, as a region, is the major source for trade and for immigration to the United States today.
Arturo Lopez-Levy joining us from San Francisco. Thanks so much.